Hello, hello.
Oh,
Happy Saturday.
yeah, that.
It's always good when we finally make it to the weekend, especially coming off of, the holidays and it's cold outside. We're supposed to get like 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow night. I don't know. It's like Snowmageddon. I think the news must be so tired of COVID and of politics. Like, I mean, the snow isn't coming till Sunday night, and they're already on Friday night reporting on it, like for the first 15 minutes of the newscast. They had interviews with the snowplow people who are ready, and talking about the tons of sand and salt that they have ready, and like all this, what's going to happen to the roads. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Must be so, and talking about people going to the grocery stores and stocking up, and I'm like, we don't even know for sure that everybody's across the board what we're going to get.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest news event, Snowmageddon.
Wow.
Because they're bored.
Yeah. Slow news day.
It's funny. Anyway, yes, Megan, Sunday. I know. I'm glad it's Saturday though. Oh my gosh. And
Me
most people
too.
here in the US, Allie, we have a lot of people will have like schools and bank holidays and stuff. It's Monday's a holiday for Martin Luther King Day. So
Okay.
a lot of people happen to have Monday off, which is cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Jocelyn's back. Yes, we accidentally
Yay!
blocked her last week because of those stupid Russian bots. And so anyway, she's back. She is not a Russian bot, by the way. It just the thing moved up and I clicked and Jocelyn's name happened to win the lottery. So, but she's back. We got her back. We have to have our number one fan back. So
That's right.
and then I took
And
screenshots.
hopefully you might have fixed the bots.
I might have. We'll see if they show up. I played around with all the settings and I saw a few things. I also saw the below 18-year-old thing, so I did that as well to block. Since we do kind of talk adult topics here, to block children. I hated to do that, but still.
Yeah.
This isn't the channel for that. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see. We'll see if my little settings investigation was worth it or not today.
Yeah.
Well,
it got Jocelyn back, so even if it failed at everything else, that makes it worth it.
Yes, absolutely. I had kind of this horrifying experience yesterday. I have, I do newsletters, my email newsletters and stuff, and I have my regular Gmail is kind of my everyday, at gmail.com, is my everyday kind of email. But my email goes to like my domain name email. So I check it every now and then. And I'm pretty sure I check it like monthly maybe or something, but I haven't checked it since July, and apparently a lot of readers have been emailing me there.
Oh my gosh.
I just on a whim yesterday thought, I should probably check it. You know how your
checked
mind
it for a few weeks.
It's like you'll think of some and you'll be like, oh yeah, I did that a month ago. And then you look and it's like, oh, I haven't actually done it since last year. It's like your mind plays tricks on you, And so
It does.
yeah, I've been slowly trying to write back to some like, I am so sorry. I am a ditz, but really I would have written to you immediately because I am not unprofessional like that. I would have, responded right away. But it's been fun to read, comments and stuff. So that happened. You can forward that. I know I thought about that, Megan, and I will maybe get in there today and play with some of those settings because it is kind of awkward, to constantly go back and forth, right? So,
Yes.
and I'm so, everything I do is so just generic, gmail.com, which probably has pros and cons, I suppose. But yeah, I should definitely do that. I also have, can you forward anything? Like, can you forward, I guess I could forward another one too. I'm just thinking about that now. I have a third one I might forward too. Thank you, Megan. I will look into that. Anyway, what are we writing today, Allie? What's going on? Everyone tell us in the chat. What are you writing? What's happening?
Oh my God. I am carrying on from where I've got to, because I'm going to finish the story by the end of January, even if I'd completely forgotten that was my goal this week. That is my goal. I'm going to finish it before the end of January.
Yay! Good, Allie. I'm proud of you. I support any decision you make. So, and
Thanks.
if it, do what you can. Oh, thank you. I don't know. I don't have, I have to look at space too. Space is kind of becoming an issue. So I wonder if that would help if I did that, Megan. I might actually, I think because of my buying my domain name email, maybe the G Suite was included.
Possibly.
Then I'll have to forward my
You're on
regular
Wix, aren't you?
gmail.com. Yeah. But then I would have
Yeah, I
to,
think so.
but it's connected to, to Google.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Wix uses G Suite.
Okay. So maybe what I should be doing is actually going the other way, sending my generic gmail.com to my domain name.com email. I have to look at that. Wow. What was I saying? I was saying something, going somewhere, and it was really important. Because everything I say is so gosh darn important. What was I talking about? I was talking about, what were you just saying? You were talking about your words. Oh, I know what it was. I know what I was going to tell you. And I did want to talk about this today. I forget which group I saw it in yesterday, but I thought it was really cool. And I almost copied the whole thing into our Let's Write group on Facebook. But it was, oh, thanks, Megan. I will. I almost copied it into the Let's Write group. But it was a really long post. I think it was in the Romance Writers post, possibly, or 20 books. I get them confused. Anyway, it was about this woman, and she's actually going to write a book on it. But there's this thing out there about, and I know how your views on setting goals, and and sometimes it makes you feel attacked or uneasy to do them, versus my views of setting goals. We're complete opposites, which I think is good. We present both sides of the coin to people. But I really liked this, which she was talking about, which was instead of viewing a whole year in front of you, because we tend to some of us tend to oh my gosh, we put it off and off. And then the last 3 months, we're super productive trying to finish that goal. To think of the year in terms of 4 years, each being 3 months long. And so, or they're quarters essentially, but she's calling January to March, year one. And setting more quarterly goals and focusing on those, because then you'll work towards those with that short amount of time. I think there's an old adage that's work expands to the time you have to fill it.
Yeah.
And
so that sounds right.
I thought, oh my gosh, that's actually really, really interesting. And I kind of like that vibe because, it's so true. There's this far off goal I have, several goals for the end of the year, but 3-month goals might be rather interesting. So
it all comes down to whether you can set for yourself that internal deadline earlier, because you have the external deadline, and it depends whether you can set that internal deadline and have it be as
intrinsically
important
motivated
to you.
Yeah.
Which obviously, Megan, is about whether you're a questioner, upholder, obliger, or rebel, isn't it?
So, Allie, does that can you see yourself? You're intrinsically motivated. You're saying the end of the month. If you think of what's going to happen by the end of March, does that set an external, but also internally? Maybe that does that help you drive a little bit?
It's tricky. I like this end of July. It was actually better. It was easier for me when it was end of the year, because the end of the year is obviously a big moment. But hopefully this end of January will be enough that I can get it done, and I'm close enough to
to see that it can actually happen.
Yeah.
To believe that you can make this happen, and it'll be there. It'll be there. But when you think of it that way, you can actually have 4 New Year's, 4 New Year's
Yeah.
celebrations. You can have like April 1, not only a big celebration when you finish January 31, but a big celebration April 1 for finishing that 3-month year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm really proud of you. I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh.
I'm
Seriously.
sorry. I don't think.
Ah,
Shall I block that one?
yes, of course. Anything that's
I'm wary of us both trying to block it at once and ending up accidentally blocking
No.
someone else again.
I'll do the videos today. You do the blocking.
Okay.
Okay. I thought because it said it actually disabled anyone putting a link in here.
Yeah.
Except for you and I. So unfortunately, that does mean that no one will be able to put a link in, which I think was the thing before anyway.
Yeah, I don't think we could anyway.
Poopy. Anyway, I'm super proud of you. I know you can do it. We all know you can do it, and we will support you every way we can.
Thanks.
A 3-day weekend throws us off our grind, huh?
I'm glad
Yes.
it's not Sunday because I'm not having a 3-day weekend, and that would suck if it was already Sunday. So.
You can live vicariously through us on Monday. Let's see. Yes, Megan, I think she mentions it, but for whatever reason, this particular person mentioned some kind of book, wrote all about it in this big long post, and then says she's going to write her own book about it. So it's kind of interesting. More power to her, which I kind of feel like, I guess in some way it was interesting to see her maybe test what she was writing in that big long post. But then I was like, but if you're going to write a book about it, like you just pretty much gave away so much. Plus you gave a spreadsheet. So kind of, I don't know, thought that was interesting. But maybe she was using it as a test to see how many comments she would get back. And then based on that, kind of that, what is it, an MVP, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting though. All right. So shall we hit our first 20? Get into writing? Thanks everyone for joining us. We got Kate and Megan and Jocelyn, and we're gonna write, and let's hit it. I have no excuse on my weekends. Yeah, lucky you, Megan. Megan has the 4-day work week book.
I love those. Apparently my husband's got a 3-day weekend this weekend as well. So lucky him.
And you have to work on Monday, you think? Can't you just take it off?
I have to work all weekends and Monday, so no weekends for Ali.
I'm sorry. And you're a mom to youngins, so there's never a rest in that case either.
Oh, it's okay. If he's off, he gets to be mama.
Oh,
as it were.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's hit our first 20, and yeah, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Okay.
See you.
Happy writing. Okay, yeah. Enough of that typing. um, how'd you do, everyone? Let us know. I actually was reading my last chapter, making a few adjustments, as is typical of the first sprint, so I can get into writing the next sprint. So, how'd you do, Allie?
I did okay. I had to faff for a little bit because trying to log into my Google Mail because of your conversation reminded me I should probably check my Google Mail. And
I think I
doing
sent you a
that
couple of things.
caused me to log out of my author account on YouTube and log into just Ali Dover. So 379 words.
Well, good
So
for
that was a bit
you.
of annoyance.
Productive and writing. That's good. Good.
Yeah.
Megan's having issues with blurb writing. It's the worst. There was something I came across this past week, though. I saved it to a doc, and it was like a Mad Lib. Oh, I know. It came across email from the Romancing the Beats author, and it was a Mad Lib to fill out about your book. And I thought, oh, this is so handy for writing a blurb. So maybe I'll stick
Yeah.
it into the group because I don't think I ended up posting it in the group. So, but I saved it as a doc, and I'll share that. I don't know if that'll help, but it was really fascinating to read through. It was a fill in the blank about your romance. So I think
cool.
it could be interesting exercise at least.
Sounds like fun anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun, but exercise. But I have to say, Megan, at first, I think the first two books I wrote the synopses after. But then every book since I'd heard from someone somewhere to write the synopsis first. Even if it does change later, you kind of already know a little about your characters as you've been doing character work and stuff, building up to the story, and maybe you know how the story is gonna end or what your tropes might be. At least you can write, some of your synopsis, and that has really helped. Really, like very, very small changes have I had to make after writing the whole book. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Try that, Megan.
I know Debbie tends to do that.
Yeah.
Writes the blurb first because the thing is, once you've got the blurb, you basically know what you want to accomplish in the story, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you've found some of the major points of the story. So yeah.
And so welcome everybody who's writing with us today. Writing blurb type summaries is how I write down my dreams. Most books start out that way. Yeah. So maybe think about those initial dreams and stuff, turn them into synopsis. Go ahead, Ellie.
I was just going to say, Megan, I'm sure I've seen you on some of the Facebook groups helping other people out with their blurbs.
I know. I have too. It's a good point. But sometimes it's easier to help others than when I would go over to a friend's house who had 4 children, and her house was always chaotic. But it was so much easier to clean her house than mine.
I'm just thinking, Megan, if you get someone else to write a blurb for you, just however rubbish a one, get them to just do it, and then you can be like, oh, I can fix that.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I did that too on Fiverr. You can find people like for $5 who will write you, $10 maybe, 20 at the most, who will write a blurb for you. And I did that. And I think that really did help. It was a jumping off point. You can't, these people write blurbs and they're not as expensive as the one from Brian Cohen, which was awesome. I did spend the money on the first book. I actually do think that since they always say when you're writing a series, so this might help you too, Megan, when you're writing a series, the first book is the most important and the one that you'll market and the one that, starts it all off and stuff. And so I think it's worth it to, hire a really good blurb writer for that first book if you're stuck on the blurb, because when I got the blurb back, now it doesn't work for everybody because I have another friend who bought the blurb from Brian Cohen and she didn't end up liking it, but she used it to manipulate, to one that she did like. I think it was Grace in our group actually who had brought that up. Andrea or Grace, whichever name she's using in our group. But I liked mine, and so anyway, I like what you're saying though about getting another person to write a blurb and then adjusting. And Kate's offering, so there you go, free.
That is very sweet of you, Kate.
That is. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. And then like so I had been putting my blurbs on the back, the book description basically on the back of the like paperback and hardcover.
Mm.
But then it seems too long. And so recently I BookBub I had a BookBub new book deal, new featured new what do they call it? Featured new release deal. And I didn't realize this. They wrote a blurb for my book,
Oh,
but it was succinct and short in one paragraph, and I love it. And it had tagline, like I'm like, oh my gosh! So I changed that whole book to that, and I put that on the back of the cover, and I'm like, this is kind of like you write a book description might be a little longer in Amazon, but like we do need that shorter version
yeah.
for other instances, for promotions and promos and for the back of the book. It turned out really well. And
Yeah.
so there's different things once you get that blurb written, Megan, I have often, and then when you apply for promos, paid promos or anything like that, they'll say you only have 300 characters to tell us about your book. I mean, so you'll need to like take whatever you end up with as your long book description, but like make these like a middle size one, a paragraph size one, a 300 character size one. It's like, so I have them all, each book on a book description doc, and each with their own. I can search book description real quickly in my thing because you'll often go to it when you're booking all your marketing and stuff, and
Oh,
and
hey.
be able to copy and post them.
Sorry, I got access to something, and that was actually one of the things they were talking about. It was about marketing, and they said about setting up a document before you start doing your marketing, setting up a document, and it should have your blurbs, your different length blurbs, different quotes that you might want to use, different pictures that you're going to use, and just having a document or a spreadsheet or whatever with all of that information on it. And then you can just go through quickly and set up all your ads and your blurbs and your blah, 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 blahs.
Yes.
And it's much, much quicker when you've got that one document in front of you. And I've got notes on it somewhere, but I can't find them.
Yes. Like it's your marketing package, right? And
Yeah.
And then also add to that captions for social media, and
Yes.
put all your gosh darn Instagram tags. So you're not having to type that out every single time. Yes, it's all in one place. And I have that too, and I call it I'm forgetting what I'm calling it now, but I have a folder for all of them.
Universal book links.
Yes.
Put that in it as well.
That would make a very good post, Ali. You should post that this week in the group.
Yeah, I'll try and write up my notes. I'm just trying to see if I can find what she called it.
I know. I'm looking for mine too now among all my folders. Marketing, press, publish, promotions package. What did I call it? I called it something all-encompassing. I'm trying to find it too.
Oh, she just called it Ad Bible, I think.
Ad Bible. Oh, that's a good word for it too.
Yeah, because it says can create Bible further in advance. So I'm assuming.
Oh, an excerpt, because like promos or even on Instagram or Facebook, there's that one longer, like not quite a chapter, but like an excerpt or a scene that you love sharing out. That kind of entices and tantalizes people. There's so much that you can put on it.
Release Bible. This
Release
is from
Bible.
Megan
That's
Quinn,
a really
apparently.
good. Yeah, Megan who? Megan Quinn.
Megan Quinn, who I keep seeing come up with books. So in the Release Bible, she said about universal link to book audio, 5 to 10 different ad copy, long and short book excerpts, taglines, example free in KU, emojis that apply to the story.
Yes, love it, love it, love it, love
Yeah.
it.
I'll write some up.
Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. I just called it a sharing doc. for everything I wanted to share out. But yeah, it has pricing. I mean, everything, all the details. So, series links if it's a series. So then that way you've got all your links in one place, ARC link, et cetera, et cetera. So anything and
Yeah.
everything all in one place, essentially.
Yeah.
Very important. And start it now because then you can just keep adding to it as you go to it.
Yeah.
Very cool. So let me get back to the screen. I can't see you all. There we go. Okay. So let's see. Jocelyn, 68 words. Yay. 6 draft over here for the blurb. Yeah. I mean, probably 10. It'll take 10 at least. That's the way it goes with book descriptions. And why it's
Just
because
remember,
we're so wordy and we're trying to
yeah,
make it succinct, but also include that fantasy that readers want to hear and, you know, entice readers to read. Yeah.
yes, use all the keywords so that they know that your character is an evil whatsmajig with a heart of gold for just that one special person, and like,
And
yeah, get all those
hint at your
universal
tropes.
bits in.
Mm-hmm. Hint at your tropes, and you know, I mean, it's like so many roles, so many things you should do.
Yes,
But
it's really important because that's the bit that's going to sell your book, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was so funny. I read. So there's. I think we've all read Universal Fantasy at this point. I think, and we're all kind of, but still, we're kind. Don't bother. No, I mean, it's good, but I think we're also kind of mystified. There wasn't really a whole lot of exact how to, or you know, it was interesting. I liked it, and I like the point she's making. I didn't come away with feeling like it's more like I have to feel for myself how to entice. You know what I mean? So it was good, and there was a little bit in it, and she did give some examples and things like that. But I read a post this week from Frankie Love. She's an Insta Live writer that I just adore. I adore her stuff, and her and Hope Ford and some of the things that they've done. But she has it's called Substack, which is kind of making the rounds as a big thing right now. It's basically like paid newsletter kind of thing. And I do subscribe to hers because she's been in the business a while. She shares a lot, you know, of her author life and all of that. But she had this really cool post this week about fantasy. And I actually pulled it up to read because I just thought it was pretty cool. So maybe we should do our next 20 and then I'll read to you because it's all about the fantasy. And she's talking about, you know, kind of how to be over the top a little bit and why. So, and then she shared screenshots of her lowest performing book and her highest performing book. So I have her revenue screenshots up here to show you all, to share, it was kind of interesting. So I love her because she's very transparent, you know, about what's going on in the business. All right. Well, let's head into our next 20 and we'll go from there. Happy writing, everyone.
See you in 20.
Okay, we are back. Thanks for joining us. Whoever is here writing with us today, that was our second sprint. Allie should be back on any minute. There she is. And we'll head into a third sprint here in a minute. How'd everyone do? Yes, sorry, it is a little loud. I don't know. I shifted down halfway the volume, but I don't know if that's just for me or for everyone else. I don't know. I'll try it next time and you can let me know.
Not sure.
Yeah, the typing sound is our indication. Time to get started to write. And at the end, the time is up. So I
Yeah.
should change it to a ding or something sometime. But I just thought at the time the typing
No,
was
I like
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I think whenever I'm on a sprint with anybody, when I hear any kind of a ding, or you just don't expect it because you're so in tune with your writing. So anyway, how did everyone do? Let us know. It sounds like Megan got some free help with her blurb, so that's awesome. I actually got about 150, just kind of finished up reading that chapter. I was manipulating words and self-editing, as I do. How about you, Allie? How'd you do?
I got 360 and
Yay!
realised that I've written a like 20 odd page chapter that really needs to be split up into several, which is why I was slightly late coming back, because I was trying to find the right places.
Figure it out. Yeah. What's the word count on that chapter for 20 pages? 5,000, 3,000?
It would have been a lot. I've just split it up. I've split it up once, but I'm going to need to do it again.
Interesting note, as I've been diving a little into audiobook, more words that we want to write for bigger page read and longer books and royalties on Amazon also equates into more cost on the audiobook side. So that was interesting.
Yes.
Megan says she abandoned the blurb for plotting. Plotting makes me feel like I know what I'm doing.
Fair enough.
You've got time for sure. Okay, so we were talking before the break about the Universal Fantasy book, which I think is actually called Seven Figure Author. I put it on my bookshelf back there. So there is this, I mentioned this Frankie Love little blog that I get every week. And so I just want to read this to you because it's just such a gold mine. I just love the way she puts this. And it was like, oh, okay. I kind of like love the way she puts it. So she says, I figure if I'm wanting to have some fun, my readers probably are too. Feelings are universal, and right now we need some joy because life consists of hunting down rapid tests and reading CDC guidelines, important, but not the escapism I want. Over the course of my writing career, I found that far-flung stories tend to do well. I'm talking over-the-top escapes from the humdrum lives most of us lead. Age gap romances where a hero twice your age is obsessed with your virgin, P-word, gold mines. Asshole heroes with 8-packs who can knock his woman up with quadruplets without even trying. Cha-ching. A reclusive bearded hottie who wants a mail-order bride and is ready to breed her. Dollar signs. Now, you've got to understand, she writes insta-love, so, take it with it.
Yeah.
But you get the point that she's saying, over the top tends to be more memorable. It's something to remember where we are writing for a fantasy. And frankly, the fantasy is what I'm here for, and readers are too. Believe me, I've gotten it plenty wrong plenty of times. Want evidence? And this is where she shows her lowest performing book and her highest performing book. Lifetime-wise, her lowest performing book is called First Witch Bear Baby, and it made $279. And her best-selling book, Timber, The Mountain Man's Babies, made $87,000 in Lifetime.
Nice.
Since it's been writing. And so she goes on to say, the first one, just too many things were happening. A Fey Witch Bear Baby. I mean, I'm not even sure I know what that is. Her next book, she shows like 4 different books. Her next book, Happily Ever After, was a book in a pretty good performing series, but there was a year between the previous book's release and this one, and the model looks so young. Too young. The model on the cover barely looks legal young. And Spring Break Baby Burrito. Well, I had to use that title because I thought it was funny. And maybe when most people think of burritos, they're not turned on. I knew it was a stretch even when I wrote it, but sometimes weird works. These releases prove that is not always the case. It's hard to know what is a fantasy and what is just too weird for comfort. Babies on the covers may work, burritos will not. Bear shifters are fine, but let's not make it more than that. And if you're going to put a man chest on the cover, make sure the model is an actual man in terms of age. How can we use this info for upcoming projects? Since I write Insta Love romances, I take a trope that is popular and add a little flair to it. Okay, a lot of flair. Make one aspect memorable, special in a way the reader can only get from you. Toss in your voice and unique spin on the world. I've done a lot of books with babies. Well, she goes on to talk some more, but I want to get to this point down here. You do you best, so share that with the reader and then go one step farther. That is what I did with her highest selling book, the Timber book. The difference between that book and my regular releases has to do with the bigger fantasy. I gave my heroine Harper, who came from an uber religious family who wouldn't let her cut her hair or miss church because of that, being their world. I gave her a man who listened to her, who let her be herself, who loved her curiosity about her body and his, and gave her triplets because what she wanted was to be a wife and a mom. So why not more than one? But the best thing that series had to offer was the community that circled around these women. The bigger fantasy was the extended family who had you over to dinner, babysat your kids, who could shoot the shit but would always show up when needed. It was a family we all want but don't always get. When thinking about my books for the upcoming year, I have a few series I know that I'm playing it safe with. I have standard covers that hit the mark, but don't scream, this is the ultimate fantasy you can only get from Frankie Love. So I'm evaluating my writing and release plans so I can incorporate something that is a little more risky and a lot more me. Because playing it safe, while it can make you steady sales, it doesn't always produce a runaway hit. Timber was a story that changed her life, blah, blah, blah. What story can you write that sells the fantasy you crave? What do your readers need from you this year? Your readers are coming to you for a reason. Give them what they want, times 10 with some whipped cream and a cherry on top. So I just thought that was like, wow, that gives you so much to think about. Like, how much in our writing are we writing to be safe? Like, I have heard in a lot of my reviews about, writing real life. She writes real life, like, and I do, because I tend to think, what just really happened in real life? Like, and maybe that's too safe. And maybe there's a lot of people, I mean, they haven't said it was bad, so they must be okay with it. But like, could I instill just a little bit of like a little extra over the topness? It really just kind of opened my eyes to thinking, I'm not going to do something really bizarre, but like, you know, how can I go from real life to something that people, um, I don't know, that will make women going, yes, that's it, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
I had a book and I've sent it back and it was Writing with Wonder, something like that. And it's been in my KU for like a year. And I have the really odd feeling that might have been a Dave Farland book. And yeah, that's what it was about. It was adding the wonder in to your book, and that's not just in fantasy. That was a Dave Farland book. I knew his name.
What was it called? Writing the Wonder?
Writing Wonder.
Okay, I'll check it out. Because I really thought that made a point, though. Like, are we giving them enough, fantasy? But is there a point you wanted to make about it?
Because people are going, people who read fiction, and especially romance fiction, they're reading for escapism, aren't they?
Right.
And that's why the men that we write aren't real men, because that's not escapism, that's just what we're stuck with. Uh-huh. So, and you got all the people saying about how badly men write women, and I swear to God, women write men just as badly. It's just we do it nicely. We improve them, Mm-hmm. But yeah, right, you're writing bigger. You want to provide that extra wonder that you can't get in your everyday life, don't you?
Exactly. I think that's why I love billionaires, because I mean, they've got the luxury, the money, but yet my billionaires are also like down to earth. Like,
Yeah.
relatable people that you want to love, like at least I
Yeah.
hope they are.
Because if you found a real billionaire, they'd be like, not someone you wanted to know.
They might not, you never know. There's a lot of different billionaires out there, but I don't
Sure.
personally know a billionaire. So if
If
I
one would like
were,
to turn up and change my mind, I'm fine with that.
there you go. But boot that Rushton out of here. Anyway, yes, the billionaire. You know what? I think the site blocker probably doesn't work because they always put a space before the dot. Did you notice that? So it doesn't look like a link.
Ah, yeah, maybe that's.
I don't know.
I,
It's a theory
I
I
don't know.
had, and I was waiting for the next one to come up because it's supposed to block any links. Well, if they're not written the right
Maybe
way.
you can set it up to block specific phrases, can't you? So maybe if you set it up to block space dots,
Oh, I'll have to look into that. Yeah.
and just everyone understand that you have to type correctly on our thing, and if you put a space in before your full stops, your message will be blocked.
Okay, I will look into that. Let me add that to my list. Space stuff. Yeah.
The other thing I was
So,
going to say, though, to do with what you just said, was a lot of that is your brand. Like Debbie's brand in books is, what was it, kick-ass heroines in fantasy books, something like that. And that's what most of her books are. And she wrote a series, I think last year, called Shifters, The Wolves of Hawthorne Cove. And the first book, her main character wasn't like that. She was like mousy and bullied and what's that word that means you'll do what you're told and begins with a D? Domestic is not the right word.
disciplined. I don't know. Diligent.
Demure, I think,
Demure.
is what I was going for. And she got a lot more compared to normal of people complaining that this was not the standard of heroine they had come to expect from her, and like not liking her book because of it. And it's because that's her brand. That wasn't necessarily what she'd planned when she first started writing, but that's become her brand. And like she wanted to write something a bit different. She wanted to take that risk, write something a bit different that was giving joy to her, and write a character growing into her kick-assness. And I think her series did well in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be a risk writing off your brand, but equally you want to build a strong brand, and it needs to be a strong brand that you're enjoying.
Yeah.
Not just playing it safe all the time.
Yeah. And not every book is going to do well. Some are going to tank and some are going to fly, and but I think what Frankie said was true in terms of when you're writing, just take a step back and just think, did I add enough fantasy appeal to my readers? Did I write what they're used to receiving from me? I love that point. Your brand, what you've kind of become known for. So maybe I write, realistic situations with these, billionaires who have all the money in the world, but yet are so relatable and, so like, yeah, they might be jerks to start with, but they end up, fully loving their woman. But what's that little over the topness, that I can put into it? Because it doesn't always have to be, I often question, I think we all do, would this really happen in real life? Because right now I'm writing a palate cleanser, right? And it's a stepdad taboo story. And I just started pausing this week thinking, oh my God, I could see mothers out there totally cringing because, like, and then you've got the cheating aspect, and it's like, that's another cringe. But there is, somebody out there who likes stepdad taboo will probably love it.
Yeah.
So it's not my current pen name thing, but it is over the top, and it is like, a little bit different, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. But it does, make you stop and think, oh gosh, what did I just write? What did I just do? And should I pull it back and be a little more realistic and let the mom and the stepdad break up first, and then they move away to another state, or I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting. Megan loves taboo stories. So anyway, But yeah, I thought Frankie's thing was just really well taken. So I'm glad we had that chat today. And now we should head into our third 20-minute writing sprint.
Yes.
Let's do it. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah.
Our final sprint, and let's make it a good one.
See you in 20.
See ya. Okay, enough of that. How did everyone do? I hope that it was a very productive Saturday. I still kind of tinkered with words, so I don't have a strong word count at the moment, but it's like putting in bits and pieces that were kind of needing to strengthen up. Trying to strengthen that fantasy. But I have 50 million things to do this weekend because I also need to I've been bits and pieces working on the whole scope of the next book, and I also have been working with some other authors on the holiday series. So we have a call Tuesday, so I need to put some stuff into a Trello board to show them. Just one thing after another. I have a newsletter due tomorrow that I need to write. It's like a lot that has to happen between today and tomorrow. My husband's working today. I don't know if he is tomorrow, but that'll be easier to take that time today while he's not around.
Yeah.
But get it all done. Get it all done somehow. How about you, Allie? How'd you do?
I got 190, 190 on that sprint, which means
Yay.
I've got 930 today in total.
Yay, Allie. You're going to make it. You will, girl.
I mean, I will if I write more than 2 days in the month, because that's what I've accomplished so far this month. 2 days.
In January so far. That's okay.
Yeah.
January's a crapshoot. There's so much, we come up a holiday and we're tired and it's cold and, we have all the excuses, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta just scrap the excuses and go, no, sit, right. Make words happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it. I believe in you. How many more words do you think you have to get to reach that goal?
We're just having a chat with the bad guys. Then we're going to have a bit of a fight. Then that's going to be hilarious because Ali writing fight scenes. And then we're going to escape, run away. And then there's going to be a next day. And she's going to stand up for herself. Give or take, that's the end.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, 10,000 more words?
That's not bad.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's not bad at all. You can do it. You can do it. Sounds like you have a direction. You got through the messy middle. Your mess, the messy middle is always the hardest, and you're headed toward the end. So it's going to wrap up quickly. One thing that I have been trying to do, Willow Winters talks about this, is write your final chapter before you chronologically get to it, because at the end, it's like we kind of rush through that last chapter, and some people do. I know I do, and I have been trying to focus on making the last chapter a little bit more and it does help to write it earlier, because I think we want to rush to the end, right? We want it to be done. We're almost done. We see the end, and then we're just kind of wrapping everything up in rapid succession, and I could see her.
Yeah, I've definitely read authors who I'm like, wait, what? Like, you just had the back. What? You're supposed to show the next day and the results. You can't just stop there. I want to see the happy ever after bit.
Yeah. The internal thoughts, the external, what's going on, recap, or bring things to a close from the whole story and your side characters and whatnot. But it has to be satisfying, and so that's tough. But I did that this last time. I wrote my ending chapter earlier on and tried to play with it. I think in book 3 I had done that too. It's tough though, because you just want to be done, and so you kind of wrap it up, and it can be a little emotionally unsatisfying. So
it probably helps if you write it earlier as well, because then it gives you a much better idea of how you want it to end, which probably helps in the writing the middle bits and the coming up to the ending bit, because you're like, oh, well, I know how it's going to end. I'm not just making it up off the top of my head.
Well, that's kind of that whole synopsis thing too. If you write that early on, you have the ultimate theme or vision or goal for this story. You may not have all the bits and pieces, but what's some way happening. And then if you write that ending as well too, and everything can change as you go through the story. But interesting insights today. We had beginnings, we had endings, synopses, fantasy in between. We're very satisfied today. We had a happy ever after writing sprint. All right. Well, super, Jocelyn. That's awesome. Megan sounds like she's getting going on her book sprint. We have several people here. Tell us how you did, real quick. Kate, if you're still here, tell us how you did. I think Morningstar had to take off, or she might be listening. Other people might be here. Anyway, what's your plans the rest of the weekend, Allie? Anything going on?
No, I don't think so. Not this weekend.
And we went through a whole sprint without talking about food.
Oh, till right now.
How did we do that? Oh yeah, Morningstar's resting.
Resting.
Yeah. Oh, you went to the. You had a day off this week where you went to the farm with your kids, and everything sounded like it went really well.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It wasn't a day. We only went for a couple of hours because it's very local. So that's always fun.
Good.
We try and go every week when the schools are in. We don't like going in the holidays because my eldest doesn't like when there's a lot of people there. So we go in term time when there's very few people. It's very nice.
Aw, I love that. Kate's doing admin stuff, so she got to it. Megan trying to decide what my antagonist's last escalation will be before he dies.
I mean, if he punches your hero a couple of times, I'd be okay with it.
And what satisfying ending does he need to his life before he dies? But then again, I guess some people just, are shot off and they're not prepared to die. So I guess you don't need to really. Depends on where you're coming from. Don't always need to have a satisfying ending for every character who's going to die, I suppose. You don't have any death in your book, right, Allie? You're not writing that. People get hurt?
Not at this point. There's going to be some murders in book. There's going to be some murders, I think, at the end of book 2, in book 3, and in book 4.
Ooh, okay.
Because, supernatural, paranormal stuff, sometimes people just die.
Well, you need more ghosts, so they have to die. I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. He deserves it.
It's funny. Yeah, Blaze of Glory. Yeah. Especially if it is a hero. Yeah. I'm in a Blaze of Glory. That's funny. Well, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I have no plans, just working. Kids are off Monday, so I don't know. When they're off, it's almost like, oh, and I'm off too, technically. I forgot about it. In the real world work, I am off Monday too, so I do get an extra day to hit all my to-do list. Surprisingly. All right. Well, very good. Well, I guess we shall sign off then and wish everybody a good day. And thanks everyone for joining us.
Have a great holiday, everyone that we won't see tomorrow.
And Tuesday, we'll do that. Tuesday. Yay. Okay. We will see you guys then. Everything good?
Yeah.
All right. Have a great one, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.